What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to the A Show with the Kings of Pro Wrestling Podcast. I am Justin here, representing for RNC Radio, A Show RNC, with my homeboy Meelz. I'm not going to ask you how you're doing. I'm just going to say, Meelz, it's a wonderful day to be black.
I was wondering, I was like, am I also not representing RNC Radio in the A Show as well? I was just,
I mean, you're doing both. I mean, you're doing all of it.
Okay, it just seems a very particular.
You represent RNC Radio, A Show, Lookout, motherfucking everything.
Everything under the sun. Yeah. Welcome back. It's a beautiful day to be black.
Yeah.
I don't I think this was the actual time where I had things to say, but then I don't remember anymore. So now I guess we're back to the normal stuff. How are you doing? How about that? Let's flip it on you. Let's see
I'm doing great, man. I know we don't talk much about, and this isn't even like a political issue. I'm 1 week away from the second shot. You feel me?
Oh, okay.
We're almost. Hold on.
There's no level. Yeah. There's no level anxiety that comes with that of like, what if I get it before the second shot?
I don't do nothing. So like, there ain't no anxiety for it. It just feels good to be vaccinated before my birthday. When I'm able to see my mom, I can hug her. She's already vaccinated. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is just it's a glorious moment. Currently looking at. Can you hear Roman? He's like, I had to give him like a little chew toy. Can you hear him?
No, I don't hear him at all.
He's like, he is fucking this thing up right now. But other than that, it's pretty great. It's a great day to be black, man. But it's also a great day to be on the A Show because we have the first winner of the Royal Rumble pools as a guest today. Meelz, are you excited?
I'm excited just because all right, so here's my story with the whole Royal Rumble pool thing and how it ended up turning out. Obviously, we got too many entrants. We had to do just a draw, a whole bunch of other things, et cetera, after the fact. And then I'm always glad to get the two winners because I feel like when we get the winners, I end up like befriending them and enjoying their takes and all the other tweets and stuff like that. It's just like a great way to just kind of, I don't know, maybe meet new people. I don't know. But yes, of course, you have to introduce to the show. If you follow him on Twitter, it is at _ Donny Smoove. Donny, welcome to the show, bro.
What's going on, fellas? What's going on? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
What's going on?
Absolutely.
Man?
What's up, bro? First of all, how are you? How have you been? How's everything going on in your life?
Hey, listen, man. I'm a black man in America, so I'm as good as I can be. But I'm on the A Show today, so I'm feeling great. I had to move some things around to make this happen, but I'm excited to be here.
Oh man, I appreciate that.
We are happy to have you on. It's such a great thing when fans of the show that have been supporting us for so long, and we know you've supported us for a really long time, get a chance to kind of talk their shit on the show. I want to ask, like, how long have you been listening to the A Show?
It's been about a little over a year now. I follow I think his name is Armand. I follow Armand on Twitter, and he was retweeting you guys one day. And I was like, damn, somebody else that's black that's into wrestling. So, when you find people like that, you gotta, what I'm saying? You gotta hold on. You gotta stick together because it's rare out here, We're a rare community.
I appreciate that.
So, yeah, I was following you guys for a minute.
Yeah, that is, I mean, it definitely is rare. Like, when you think about the bubble that we're in as black wrestling fans, it's like, you could throw like a ball down the hall, and by the end of the hall, it's like reach the end of us. There's not really many compared to, however many other people there are. So like, it is good to stick together. And I think, we had a conversation with Seahawk a couple of weeks ago, about a month and a half ago. And, we even talked about that, just kind of, supporting each other. And Armand absolutely supported us. He's now part of the team on the Rewriters Room. But I mean, bigger than that, how long have you been watching wrestling in general?
Oh, man, since a kid. The first match, I don't think it's the first match I ever saw, but it's the one that always come to mind when people ask me that. It's like Monday Night Raw 99, The Rock versus like Billy Gunn in China. And like, I remember that match specifically because I remember the announcers like, Mr. Ass. And I tried to say it. My grandmother was like, boy, don't you dare. Like, I don't care what's on TV. So that match always sticks with me. It's like the first wrestling match I ever saw.
Oh my God. Yo, where are you from, by the way?
South Carolina originally.
Okay.
South
Okay. All
Carolina.
right.
Yeah.
Shout out to
All right.
South.
Yeah, shout out to South
They,
Carolina, man. Shout out to Sumter. That's where I'm originally from. Sumter, South Carolina.
I'm from Virginia, so they might like a lot of people used to call it South Kakalaki. Do you guys do that still?
No. We don't call it that. We don't call it that.
They was too
Okay.
country for that. It was too country. I was like my granny used to call it. I was like y'all. I'm not even gonna say that to
Yeah, no,
somebody.
No.
I think that's like a couple eras ago. I don't think nobody call it that anymore.
Oh
Well,
shit. Okay.
which Royal Rumble did you win?
The women's, shout out to Bianca, you know what I'm saying? No disrespect to Montez, but hey, I don't know. He might have to show he gonna have to show me, you know what I'm saying? If I ever run into it, he gonna have to show me. Cause
Oh, I
man,
don't know. You say he can't fight? I'm not saying you
you
say
know
he
what I'm
can't
saying?
fight.
I ain't saying he can't, and I ain't saying I can, but hey, for her, we're gonna have to see. We're gonna have to see.
Oh my god! All right, cool. So, of course, obviously, as the winner of the Royal Rumble pool, you're gonna chill with us today
Sure.
on the A show as we talk about a lot of things. We got a pretty stacked show today. We are going to start off with no holds barred, hot button issue here this week with Andrade finally being granted his release from the WWE. This happened right after Fastlane on Sunday. He had actually tweeted that, bonus noches during the show. And a lot of people were like, well, what does that mean? I was thinking like, if they're gonna release
It means Spanish for good night, by the
Right.
way.
if they were going to release them, I figured out that they were probably going to do it after the show because they're not going to switch it. They have a social team that has to draw the attention to the show that was on before he said that. His social stuff has been bothering me lately a little, but they did announce the release right after that.
Wait. Why has it been bothering you? Hold on, wait.
It's just I mean, there's nothing wrong with saying he's just corny. He's just a corny nigga.
Oh, come on.
I
We
mean,
turning on Andrade already?
I didn't turn on him. What do you mean? I want him to be happy. I'm just saying his tweets.
But this is the beginning.
His social presence is corny. It's always been corny though. Like I've never said that it was social. His social presence was good. It was just corny. This was even more corny.
Yeah, I don't think he's known for his followers. Like
Yeah.
What? He can't just be I don't know, a strong Mexican who loves his white woman as much as he does. You know.
I think that he's it's just a corny social. This isn't as big as the release. He was
No.
let go. He was let go, and a lot of people, people are sad. I'm pretty bummed about it. I think that he could have been to me like that Rey Mysterio transcendent, wrestler for Latin America. I think WWE does struggle to find that Latin American star next to Rey Mysterio. Like I see what they're doing with Damian Priest, but it's like, are they going to stick with Damian Priest the way that they should? And Andrade was definitely somebody that could have been working this Bad Bunny program and could have gotten it over. And they just, I know he was injured, but it just didn't seem to work out that way. Especially with so much, like he was all over TV last year, and then he just never went anywhere.
Yeah,
I felt.
Go ahead. Yeah, I think after that faction failed, him and Austin and what was the other guy they had with him? I think
Angel.
Yeah, I think after that, pretty much, I think that was their last straw with him. They really ran out of ideas. I feel like because he was really out of sight, out of mind for the last few months. Injury aside, I think they just ran out of stuff for him. Ain't nothing really hit.
Yeah, I don't know. It felt so. Obviously, we have like always these two schools of thought because he was used, I would say, in a great fashion in NXT. Mm-hmm. And, NXT champion, having great matches, classic Gargano, matches against Aleister Black, matches against every type of, person that you can kind of think about before being called up on a roster. And being called up to the roster seemed like a no-brainer, to be honest with you. He was already seasoned. It kind of felt like he was down there too long, but even then, it kind of felt like in NXT, he was trying to find his character because remember, he was like, if you remember in the beginning, he had the hat and the suspenders and
they had
wild corny shit.
That's what I was going to say. They had fucked him up on NXT too. Like they had pulled him on NXT as well. So like he didn't start out the gate very well. It took about 2 years almost for him to finally find his footing there. And then for the last, 2.5, 3 years, they're and I mean, again, like Meelz said, there's two trains of thought. Is like if he wasn't being used and if he wasn't reaching his potential, he falls on the ladder. He didn't reach his full potential. He was definitely used,
I think so. I always feel like, at least in this opportunity, WWE has been chasing ever since like Rey Mysterio left for that first time. They've been chasing the next, big Latin star. Ever since that, ever since like Eddie Guerrero passed. Ever since then, they've been chasing that star. They've had Alberto. They tried Sin Cara. They've tried so many different people down the line. I feel like maybe we could contribute. There can be a part of this that we can contribute to WWE as well, because I feel like they just haven't been able to. They've been trying to like push for like this, this Latin star that's coming for it, and I feel like they've just kind of done it wrong multiple times. And I think the only thing that kind of worked has been Rey Mysterio, because Rey Mysterio is marketable. I think he has a personality that kind of just like beyond just the mask, it kind of like you can feel him in a certain way. But for some reason, I just feel like they've been trying to replicate that success year after year after year, and it just hasn't worked. And I'm trying to figure out why it hasn't worked, because obviously there's a community that definitely wants to be spoken to, and maybe they need more representation back there to kind of like understand, yo, this isn't how this works nowadays. This is kind of how it works nowadays and stuff like that. But I think Andrade overall, I think he's an amazing talent. I think it's a loss, but ultimately I think you said it on the timeline yourself, J5. If he's happy, all the best for him, because
Yeah.
this is something that he wanted. This is something that he sought out after. There were plenty rumors concerning his release and stuff like that, especially when you hear that a talent has asked for their release. I think all the dirt sheets go, all right, let's figure out
What was
how
cool
to.
to me was that he kind of debunked those rumors, because in the end he thanked everyone, and
Well, you
that
think the three people on NXT at least,
yeah,
and
he
Paul
but,
Heyman.
but I mean those are the,
Right.
those are the people who, I mean, essentially, but I mean Paul wasn't on NXT. He thanked Heyman too.
Right,
But like,
right, right, right.
I
No
think that,
Zelina shout out. Oh, that's crazy. How you just not gonna
yeah.
shout out Zelina?
Yeah. Well, I mean, again, that's another like shaky little, that's another shaky relationship there, where it's like, should he, would he, you know what I'm saying? But like,
Hmm.
essentially, if it was Triple H or Regal's idea to put her with them, I would understand how he could shout them out before that. But he kind of debunked those rumors, and I think, and stick with me here. I just don't think Andrade had like reached the fans outside of NXT the way that they wanted him to. He,
Mm,
whether a heel, or I mean, he was a heel pretty much the whole time, but like he was never like Alberto Del Rio hated on the main roster. He just wasn't. And
yeah.
Yeah.
and I was thinking, I was like, why wasn't he connecting? And I'm like, I can't say it's because he didn't speak the language, because that doesn't matter. I mean, we see how over Asuka is whenever she comes out. We see how over Nakamura is or was at one point in the main roster as well. But Andrade just never. Andrade, to me, have you ever remembered a time where he got like massively booed or got massive heat for anything he ever did?
Not
Nah.
really, but I can't remember much. Like the thing is like I can't remember much regarding him, because they've kind of used him kind of sparingly in a way. Like they've used him. I think the biggest high profile match he had was a match against Drew McIntyre, like early post WrestleMania last year type of deal. But
Well, I
other
mean,
than that, I remember when
well,
we were first talking about him. We were like, "Yo, why aren't they using?" They called up Andrade, and then he was like off TV for like 11 weeks, and then he eventually got in a feud with Sin Cara, and that kind of like got things going. And then he got into feud with Rey Mysterio, and that kind of got things going. And then I think from Rey Mysterio, he ends up transitioning to the Street Profits somehow, and that's really, and then Apollo, and then all types of other stuff like that. But I think those are really kind of the only four major feuds or major programs that we've kind of seen. You can kind of even like attribute to like, maybe I always felt like when I looked at Andrade and him being called up on the main roster, I always saw him feuding with John Cena. Now that is just not going to happen, because John Cena decided to go be a movie star. But I always felt like he had that kind of potential of like, you put him in a ring against someone who can bring that out of him. I think they do bring it out of him, but you got to give him the opportunity as well.
but Ray did it.
Um,
I mean, he faced Ray like 6, 7 times.
Yeah, but I think they brought it on such an athletic level, and I think their feud was mostly surrounded by the competition of the matches as opposed to kind of a story. It wasn't really a story about. I think he stole the. I don't even remember if he stole the mask. Where I'm thinking about Seth now, but
And he
it's
did. He did
a.
a mass angle. He did a mass angle with Ray too.
Yeah,
I
but I
feel
always
like
felt like the. Go ahead.
I feel like Ray had the advantage of coming up in an era where the wrestling was more important than the entertainment. Like, so you fell in love with what he did in the ring first, then you got to know him as Rey Mysterio. Whereas now it's more, how can you entertain me, then put on a good match?
Yeah.
Right.
So I just feel like
No,
Ray
I
is
agree.
beneficial in that aspect.
and
Yeah.
and 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 I never felt like that kind of shone through on a feud, like kind of what they're doing with Apollo Crews now, on the roster. I've never felt like that type of moment with Andrade. It's kind of always been like one match to the following match to the next match, and that's great. I mean, we all know he's a stellar in-ring talent, but I never felt like just character-wise it kind of built there. But
I,
they
I
could have just not seen it. They was like, yo, he doesn't if he doesn't speak English fluently, like how are we supposed to get this
but I
across?
don't. That was. I mean, it could be. It could be. I mean, I'm not privy to what's going on, back
Yeah,
there. But
we ourselves wouldn't say that because we were like, yo, but Oscar can do that. But I felt like I can't speak for WWE themselves, who for over time, I think, you look at the original Sin Cara, you look at a couple other people who it just never worked out because it was like, okay, well, he just doesn't speak. I've heard it on the Something to Wrestle With podcast with Bruce Pritchard myself. It was like, yeah, he just didn't speak the language. Like he couldn't connect on that certain level, like an Eddie or Ray or something, or Alberto or something along those lines. So maybe it was that. I can't speak for it, but I know that I guess Paul Heyman himself tried to, when he was executive director of Raw, he highlighted the strengths that he had, which was this great in-ring competition. But I felt like the personality of Andrade never really got to shown through. But maybe on wherever he goes next,
I
this
mean,
will
if you look at his social media, he don't got a personality. So like, he definitely needed help.
He's
El Idolo.
Andrade Flair.
Come
He'll
on.
be good. Like, as long as he's Andrade Flair, he'll be all right. You know what I'm saying?
That's a fact.
He's you know what I'm saying? He's going into the royal family. He's good. He's good no matter what.
Next up, I mean, this is kind of on the same branch here. A lot of people were rumoring. This is again the controversy of the week, right? Where this was unfounded rumors by a bunch of different sources that Charlotte was off of TV. She was off of the poster because she was holding out and holding Vince over a barrel to get Andrade his release granted.
Mm-hmm.
Fightful came out a couple hours before she announced that she had COVID-19, which of course was the reason, is the reason that she's out. It seems as though she has symptoms as well because she says she's recovering. But Fightful reported that Charlotte had nothing to do with Andrade having his release granted, which makes sense. There's like, that's just nothing that she can control, and
Can she?
How,
no, she can't. I mean, because at the end of the day, I think that type of issue, and I told Meelz this earlier this week, like, personally in the text, I was just like, holding Vince over the barrel never ends well for anybody, ever.
That's true.
do you feel like, all right, so starts the conversation because I know back in the day, especially with a lot of dirt sheets and stuff, there used to be a whole bunch of stuff about like, backstage powers and people using their influence. A lot of Triple H's, a lot of Hogan's, a lot of Shawn Michaels, a lot of people who would, John Cena even to an extent, a lot of people who would use their sway. Do you feel like that happens as much now as it did in the past?
And actually, that is, to me, that's a branch to another story that we're going to talk about next, which is the Charlie
Oh,
Caruso.
wow. Okay. Oh, shit. All right.
Is the Charlie Caruso incident where the story came out really after we did the show last week that she was showing up late to some of her interviews, and Randy Orton and Sheamus took offense. And to your question, I think that certain circumstances, I think that there are stupid ways that happens, and there are some ways that it's understandable that they would listen to people that have seniority in that matter. When it comes to firing, they have a whole talent relations department. I don't think that they need to, you know what I'm saying? You saw how long they held on to Harper and, all these other people that they let go. I think in terms of Andrade, they probably were just like, you know what? Okay. I don't think that, I mean, if you want to go deeper, I don't think that they see AEW as a competition anymore.
No.
To be honest with you.
Can't be.
So they just, he can go. We don't care anymore.
I mean, first of all, in relation to the Charlie Caruso story, it was I find it I still find this weird, and I'm interested to hear her side if she was like really being hot girl Charlie all over the friggin' locker room, where she was just like, yo, I do what I want. because I always felt like, I mean, I don't know her personally, but kind of from the way that she carries herself and the level of professionalism that she kind of uses on screen, I thought that maybe also translated to off screen, because she seems like someone who takes her job very seriously and kind of knows what role she occupies, and both on ESPN and in WWE, and sort of male, you know, male heavy businesses. So I always felt that from Charlie. So when they was like, oh, she's showing up late, that, you know, niggas don't like that. Like, but because I don't know, maybe they want to go home, or maybe they want to pre-tape their segments early or something along those lines. So I always, you know, I'm interested to hear Charlie's story if it ends up thing. There was some, like, you know, Paul Heyman made a cheap pop on Talking Smack this week. There was some other stuff, but it hasn't been formally announced if Charlie Caruso has left the company as of yet, unless she posts on Twitter in the next like 35 minutes or so. But I'm interested to hear her story. But once again, I think with even the Andrade thing, it's like no one's ultimately bigger than WWE. There's a very few people who I think if leave WWE, it kind of shifts entire things. I do think one of them is Charlotte. I do think because while she can leave and it'll just be like whatever, they put in so much time and effort over the last 6 years, really making everything important in this division somehow orbiting her in a way. So it's like if she leaves, it affects them in sort of a major way. Andrade, not so much, considering that he's new, considering that they really haven't established him as of yet, considering that he hasn't really, his value doesn't sort of supersede anything even related to the business. So, yeah, I think with Andrade, it's like, yo, kind of go where you want. AEW, my only thing is like, yo, you can go to AEW. There's a lot of talented people there. There's a lot of other talented Mexican wrestlers over there as well. There's also just a bevy of talent, but the creative over there kind of stinks. So if you get it bad here, I can't imagine what the hell's gonna go on over there.
I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I've to this day have yet to watch a whole AEW show. Like I just can't sit.
Oh my god,
I just can't put myself through it. Like I just can't.
You're not missing much. I think what do I watch? How many do I watch a year? Meelz like 4. I watch like 4 Dynamite.
I mean, when you have to show up on the War Report and stuff like that. I mean, I can just not a whole show. Yeah, I feel like most of a show, part of a show.
So let's stop sending them to places where we don't know if they really want to be, and especially in terms of Charlie, let's stop acting like because she's got a job at ESPN that she wouldn't like another bag. That job is sufficient enough for her to, you know what I'm saying? Like we don't know her financial standings. We don't know.
Like WWE is $1 billion company.
Yeah, and I'm not trying to pocket watch her. You know what I mean? But I think that having 2 jobs in 2 huge companies is better than 1 or none. So like
they were definitely treating her like she worked at like, she's working at Kroger's like on the weekends and shit. like she don't need this other job.
Like the E, you know what I'm saying? They got her that name, and I know she put a lot of work in, but like she's known to millions of people because of her job at NXT and in WWE, and that's incredibly great resume for her to have. So if she does leave on her own terms, that's fantastic. But I mean, I was just thinking of the whole thing. Like if someone was showing up late to a meeting at my job, or someone showed up late to do something for me, I'd be upset too. And that was the one instance where I was like, okay, that would probably be annoying if true, if they had to shoot. Cause those meetings or those interviews are pre-tapes, you know what I'm saying? Or a lot of the time they're pre-taped. So like, if you got to go work out or go practice your match or go practice a promo, like, yeah, I could see how that's annoying. And I see how like when you're backstage at a wrestling show, it is a circus. You know what I mean? Yeah. So like, at the end of the day, like there are 2 sides to the story. So if it was a misunderstanding or something like that, I just don't want to rule out. And I know people were like, Randy and Sheamus narked. I'm just like, bro, like they're higher ups, bro. I think I'm gonna take
Randy not putting up with that. I just know it.
Exactly. Like they're higher ups, bro. Like of course they're gonna tell. You know what I mean? Like, this ain't the streets. Like, this is a job.
Randy not having it. I can see that. He probably
absolutely
his office.
I want to.
Speaking of Randy, quick question, before you did you see his interview with Stone Cold?
No, that's why I didn't.
No, I haven't seen it yet.
All right, it's really good. That's all I'll say. We won't talk about specifics, but it's good.
Okay. I want to switch around the format a little bit. I want to talk about this top 50 women's list before we tap in. before we tap into to the fast lane recap and go to break. Are you guys upset about this list? I just gotta ask. Are you guys mad about this list? What
It's
have you
it's
seen?
definitely some things out of order in my opinion, but I'll let you go ahead.
I haven't dove into. I've seen people's reaction to the list. I haven't actually looked at it myself. I'm lists, man. I think you throw. I don't even know, but I have nothing to say to it because the realistic part of it is I don't want to sound insensitive, but I don't care.
No, absolutely.
I feel you.
I was gonna,
Um,
if you didn't say it, I was gonna say it.
Not that because it's a top 50 women's list, because if they did a top 50 men's list, I would also be like, yo, okay. I mean, you got to do stuff for extra content on Peacock. Maybe,
Right.
people who work in content someplace is now trying to add content to this place. I get it. I wasn't overly thinged. I don't think anyone has been like, has Natalia got on the phone yet and just been like, yo, this is too low? Has Ember Moon has stepped out? Because I saw Ember Moon on one of the things. So I'm assuming she's in this lower part of this 50.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if she stepped out and said anything. I don't think people care. It's a list on the network. You know what I'm saying?
I don't think
Yeah.
it's gonna get interesting until that top 10 hit. They're like the name so far is just like,
Yeah, I mean top 10. Yeah, maybe 50 was too much.
yeah,
Because
for
really,
sure.
yeah, the top 10 is where people and everyone. I think. Well, who do you predict is going to be number one?
It gotta
Uh,
be Big Charlotte. It gotta be.
it's probably gonna be Becky. It's
No,
probably gonna
man. It gotta
No,
be Big Charlotte.
it's
it's
probably gonna
Big Charlotte.
It gotta be.
Becky. Charlotte, and we said this before. Charlotte is there is tenure, but Becky, she shifted the culture.
This is true, but
Yeah.
I feel like WWE is gonna be like, "Yo, Charlotte, 10-time champion, baby.
Yeah.
Charlotte,
Come on
or
now.
11-time. I don't even know
Well,
what.
we
Like
know the top three is going to be Ronda, Charlotte, and Becky. It's just the idea of who's going to be 1, 2, and 3 at this point.
Ronda would piss people off.
Yeah, if Ronda in that top 3, that's going they're not gonna like that.
How could we argue it? She brought eyes. She made money. She got championships.
I
She main
mean,
evented in her first year.
I feel you.
She,
I feel you.
she
Well,
got 1 year of a run. She got a one
exactly.
year run.
That's what
She
they're
got
gonna
one
look
year
at it.
run.
They already feel like
I
she
would
turned her
be,
back on them.
yeah. Especially if I'm like, yo, if I'm Trish Stratus, I had to bark like a dog and get thrown mad shit on me before I end up getting women's championships. Like, and I had to do it 7 times over 7 years, had to deal with all the misogyny and all types of shit that came
Oh
with it.
man,
And then
nasty promos.
and then, Ronda shows up number 3, just debuts 1 year. I would be pissed, but if I were them, but because I'm me, I'm just like, all right, let's see. I'm more interested in like how they're presenting this more so than the actual list itself. This doesn't hold any weight to me.
It's surprisingly to me. Maybe I don't frequent these circles and the internet. That it's not really getting as much traction as people thought it was getting. But like Donnie said, like we got to wait for the.
Because we can be scrapping over number 40. What's number 47? Like we scrapping over like a Lacey Evans number. It's like I don't care.
Yeah,
Like I don't care about Lacey Evans.
it's a mark
Um,
list. It's like the PWI. It's a mark list. Like I mean, make your own list. You know what I'm saying? The only list that really matters is the
the A list.
you know what I mean, and that's coming soon. Okay,
Okay.
the A list coming soon.
Okay.
Thank you for that laugh.
Let's recap. I don't have anything to. I don't have a sorry to if this offends this week again. I'm keeping it positive still.
Okay.
But
Maybe you just keep it positive going into Mania. Maybe.
yeah, and then after we get negative. I know we're gonna have a lot to be negative about after Mania. Fastlane. It was a show that happened.
What was all right? I want to ask you guys. What was the most? I don't want to say this show was disappointing, but I guess we can gauge it from like two different sides of the spectrum. What was the most disappointing part of the show, and what was the best part of the show?
The most disappointing part of the show was the show.
Wow.
I hate Fastlane. Like I don't know why this pay-per-view still exists. Like, why are we still doing this? I know you try to placehold something for that extra few weeks between Mania and Elimination Chamber, but god damn, like Fastlane just so that shit just don't never be right.
Um, I mean, Donnie took the words out of my mouth. I'm gonna try and answer the question. I think the most disappointing thing on the show was the rising feeling that this show didn't matter, and that a lot of these matches were going to be seen again. You know, they bamboozled us and gave us a Braun Strowman Elias match in this. You know,
Listen, they played y'all because
Like
I mean,
I didn't even need that. Like why am I watching this? Like
but I mean, you know, they did have some really solid matches. I think again, Nakamura turning back the hands of time in 2021. You know, he did it again. Like him and Rollins had a better match than their Survivor Series match from 2 years ago. So shout outs to them. Sheamus and McIntyre beat the hell out of each other in a really fantastic match. So that was a good match. And I thought the main event, even if it was overbooked, it was the right type of overbooking that gets you excited to see what happens.
yeah.
So like the last 3 matches to me made up for the rest of the show.
I always feel like Fastlane should be heavily like I know Fastlane is like yo, it's on the road to WrestleMania. I think it should be more so incorporated into WrestleMania. I think they need to start booking this like they used to do the old Saturday Night Main Event type of thing, where we get matches that like for instance, you could have got Roman Reigns and one main event versus another main event or something along those lines, or just like okay exhibition matches, pick your poison type of matches type of thing where people try to set up, or like I said, Sasha Banks, I mean, she defended the title on SmackDown a couple days before, but she should have to defend the title on pay-per-view, just like Bianca Belair had to win the damn thing to win it. Sasha Banks should have to defend her championship in a high stakes match before she makes it to the other side. I would say overall the most disappointing thing, it looked like that Big E and Apollo Crews thing was like, huh?
Yeah. I storyline wise, I get where they're going. I think a lot of times they try and do things. They try and get too cute with stuff where they're like,
Mm-hmm.
I understood when I saw it. Oh, this is how the feud started with a fuck finish, and this is why Apollo's gonna try and ask for another match, a definitive match this time. I
But
hope.
he lost 6 times. Like, how definitive can you get? Like, you can't beat the man. It's not even like, yo, we tied, or yo, something crazy. I got counted out. This is crazy. He pinned you 6, 7 times.
He keep disrespecting them. That's why. But I get it. But like I said, like they're being too cute with it now. This is their artificial way of continuing this, but still keeping it strong. So I mean, we talked about it last week on the show. Like they're gonna try and find a way to extend this, whether it be giving him the belt or, like you said, Meelz, and you called it perfectly. It's gonna be a screwy finish, and it was.
Right.
I
I
love how
think
Big E
also
screams at him like a black dad in church. Like he just be really screaming on him every time if they get into it. It just screams on him. I love that.
yeah, man. I also, believe it or not, the Alexa Bliss versus Randy Orton match, some good business. I was
Yeah,
just like, okay.
I enjoyed it.
Okay. I didn't
She was
expect. I
born to
didn't
do
expect.
this. I love her at
Yeah,
this.
she was. She was like
She's amazing.
she I mean, people got a little annoyed. People something. I don't know why you're reacting to that fish. I was like, come on, this is pro wrestling. Like you've seen way more sus pins than this. Come on.
Edge,
But
Edge pinning Beulah at One Night Stand and humping her when the ref counted every time when he
first of
counted.
all, that's
Great pin.
one of my favorite matches.
Great pin. Great finish. Great finish to it.
10 out of 10.
Yeah.
I thought that was great business. I also the Roman Reigns Daniel Bryan match. So of course going into this match, I still wasn't high on Daniel Bryan being in this match. After this match, I think they made a much more compelling argument of why he deserves to be slotted into the triple threat match, even though he still lost. And you could say it's really because of Roman himself. Roman ends up tapping out, even though they knocked out the referee. Edge and interferes and pretty much leads to the result of the match. Adam Pearce is a goof, so he's probably going to book the match anyway. So I think there's a lot of stuff kind of going on. I thought that match was fantastic, though. Roman Reigns versus Daniel Bryan, just itself, I thought it was, if I had to rate the match itself, which I don't even rate matches, it's like, it's 4.5, 4.75, not 5-star, but it's really damn close because it was just great all around. But yeah, I can't. Oh, we have to talk about well, you don't have to talk about it, but it looks like what's that group called? Ali's group. Retribution. They got broken up on the pre-show.
There you go.
How do you feel about that?
Long overdue.
Mask off.
Long overdue.
Take them fucking masks off, bro.
And they didn't even get to follow up on Raw. That's how much they care about this group. That's really how much they care.
Was the big repackage is coming if that's the case.
Yeah,
and
it was a mistake. Let's go.
Yeah, well, it was them trying, and we said this year. They're trying to do anything in this pandemic era. Fans are about to come back. They know fans are going to shit on Retribution when they come back. So break them up now.
Yeah, we don't need that.
Okay, so we are going to do something different after the break. We're going to completely scrap the Raw SmackDown recap, and we're going to talk with Donny about the WrestleMania card. They've been announcing these matches literally with at breakneck speed. So we're going to talk about night 1 and night 2, what they've announced, how we feel about it, and really just kind of lead into kind of like where we think the rest of the matches are going to land on night 1 and night 2 of WrestleMania. So when we come back from break, we're going to talk about the WrestleMania card as it stands on the A Show.
Drip, drip. MCMIZ. There's a rocker and a bunny we gotta put on blasty. Our rhymes are sweet, but our lucha's nasty. They hop a little, we hop a lot. Brinca, hop, hop, we can't be stopped. Si se puede. They hop a little, we hop a lot. Brinca, hop, hop, we can't be stopped. That's la bamba. This is for the world, cities and pueblos. This is for the
Come on, Meelz. How you feel about that?
I thought it was hilarious, but also, if someone complained about racial insensitivity, racial insensitivity, I wouldn't completely be like, you know what, you're wrong. Maybe you should.
Okay, all right. There's a difference between them. Okay, if I can see if they had sombreros on, and they had Mexican regalia and Mexican flags on. They're dressed as bunnies, and they've been, Morrison's been acting like a clueless Spanish speaker for the last 3 months leading up to this. So I
thought it was funny. I'll say that. I thought it was funny that they're going to do the premiere thing and the whole thing next week. This is what we wanted.
Too. It's going to be good too.
Yeah.
Their last song was good.
Listen. Thank you. Oh my God. Yes. See, listen.
All right, let's relax. Let's relax. Let's talk about WrestleMania, y'all. This is coming to us 9th and the 10th of April. These matches are happening literally like they're just announcing the shit out of these matches. And I think that it's a great thing. But they have announced where some matches are going to go, but they have not announced where other matches are going to go. So we're going to talk about those two matches first. First up being AJ and Omos versus the New Day has not been slotted. It's not been slotted to a specific day yet. Where do you guys think it's going to be?
Day 1.
Got to be, right?
Unfortunately.
Yeah, I feel like, I don't know. I just feel like, listen, you want to kick things off. You want to kick WrestleMania off right. New Day. They're there. AJ, it's there. It's a tag team title match. You got a lot of things going on. I just think, it's just easy like that.
What do you think, Donny?
I just want to preface this conversation by saying I am the biggest AJ Styles fan. So anything I say is biased. And that's just how it's going to be. Like, I'm riding with AJ always.
He's from about 2.5 hours away from you, right?
Yeah, about that exactly. But I've been riding with AJ since TNA. Like the first time I seen him wrestle, I was like, oh yeah, this guy's got it. It took him too long to get here, but we're here now. We're taking over. So I got them on the first night, unfortunately, because they're gonna need something else. And almost his first match can help carry that first night card. So yeah. I feel like they're gonna be on the first night, but I think it's gonna be a more interesting match than people are gonna expect. I think he gonna shock everybody. I think he gonna have something up his sleeve, and he wrestling with the best, so he gonna be ready. He gonna be well prepared.
I hope he does not do the chop or any type of chops and chokes. If he's doing
Yeah,
chops and
nah.
chokes,
I need a choke slam or something. I need something mean. Like I need him to really throw Xavier through the ring. Like I need it to be
yeah.
real believable.
The other match that has not been slotted to a night, which was announced yesterday, Braun Strowman. Oh, I'm sorry, Braun Strowman.
This is so stupid. It's just like
Every
I didn't even.
every year we gotta feed Shane adrenaline junkie rush and have him get thrown around and beat up by people he's not supposed to be fighting. Like this is crazy. Like he adrenaline junkie. He just want to get beat up every WrestleMania and fall off shit. Like what's
Dead
wrong
ass
with him?
though.
But
Like for real.
I do think that the reason that this has not been slotted to a night is because Braun was given the stipulation to choose, which we will probably find out next week what it is. Are we thinking cinematic match for this? It would make sense to me to get this as wild as possible at the stadium.
You
I
don't need that for Shane. I don't think he just throw him off whatever. He ready. It don't even matter.
and I think that's dead ass true. I think just in general, because they have people, I don't think we're gonna go the cinematic route. I think definitely it's on the lines of like, yo, just throw him off. Just pick something. And I know Kevin Owens is eyeing that ship, and Shane McMahon is also eyeing that ship, and both of them want to jump off or be thrown off or be, I don't know, fucking ran over or whatever the hell it is by that damn ship. So,
Like this
I
shit is
don't
ridiculous.
have any expectations for this, man.
I think it'll be night two. I really do think it'll be slotted night two.
It'll probably be the first match of night 2. Just open
Yeah.
it up, throwing him off shit. Fuck it.
On Raw, we were finally given the official run to Bad Bunny versus The Miz. This is going to be Bad Bunny's first match. We were thinking it was going to be a tag match, but it does seem as though Morrison is injured. So it will probably it's probably for the best that it's a one-on-one match. He'll have Damian Priest obviously in his corner. Miz is a hell of a worker, so he'll make sure that what needs to get done gets done with Bad Bunny. What do you
Well,
guys think about?
thank you. Of course, thank you.
Never doubted Miz's
Big Miz.
Okay.
Big Miz.
skills. He's just not a champ. He's just not championship quality. All right. So, what do you guys think about the build to this and what happened on Raw? Obviously, Bad Bunny coming back with the guitar. I gotta say, Bad Bunny looks like he belongs out there. He looks like he could legitimately be a character on
Yeah.
the show.
He looks like he's been practicing and waiting for this his whole life. Like I ain't even mad at him for real because he looked really into it. Like he don't like nobody posing. He looked like he really want to get in there and get busy. So I ain't mad at it.
I need the WWE Chronicle WWE 24 Bad Bunny. I want to see him in the ring because I know he's been, working out in the ring, especially for this type of match. And I know he's been doing it for a while since he's been around since WrestleMania, since Royal Rumble. And I feel like they've had this match coming since the Royal Rumble. So I would love to see what he's going to bring out for this type of match. I think Bad Bunny and The Miz, I think The Miz is, like you said, just the best worker for this type of thing, able to understand the caliber of star that Bad Bunny is and able to give him stuff. What's up?
The importance of the match. I mean, I said this a couple weeks ago that to me, this match is more important than the title match for Miz, honestly.
I mean, yeah, it's definitely it's the biggest attraction match on the card thus far. Like, I think just the caliber of star that Bad Bunny is, I don't know. It's just, I'm looking forward to this match. I've loved the feud thus far. I want to see Bad Bunny take that skull crushing finale just to put that doubt in your mind, because everyone thinks in this sort of situation that Bad Bunny is going to win, and he probably might. But I feel like he needs to take a lot more physicality thus far to maybe put some of that doubt. Like, how when we were doing the Floyd Mayweather Big Show thing and Big Show throws Floyd Mayweather over the top rope and nearly kills him. I need that type of energy. I need that type of doubt seated in our brain. The guitar shot is a start, but take a skull crushing finale don't hurt. You're literally jumping on your hands.
He might do a suicide dive for real. I think he might pull a suicide dive. That's my hot take.
That'll be hard.
Yeah.
His label is biting their nails right now because they're like,
oh yeah, they're going crazy.
Please do not.
The bunny hop, maybe off the top rope or some shit. I don't know. Mexico about to call it some stupid shit.
He's such a big star that they know they can only support him. Like they can't tell him not to do this because he's that big of an artist. So they just gotta hold their breath while he go out there and take a skull crushing finale.
Meelz, should I book your therapy for the 12th or 13th of April after Miz loses?
I'm
Or
not. Listen, I'm not. The thing with being Ms. Hive at this point is you. You know that as many times as Miz actually loses, in the end he wins, and that's
okay,
really it.
True.
That's really
True.
it. The man lost for an entire calendar year and then won the WWE Championship. So it's like the man lost for so long to Otis and then won the Money in the Bank briefcase. So it's like he wins when it matters. He loses when it doesn't matter. I'm not particularly, swayed in any direction. Bad Bunny won't be. I mean, I don't know if he'll be on the Raw after Mania, but Miz's
he,
career will move
he has
on.
he has to say bye. So
Gotta keep Miz and Maurice on TV. Miz gotta do whatever it takes.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And he trying to get Bad Bunny on Miz and Mrs. I'm sure this is a reason why. You're trying to I've been working with Bad Bunny after the match and stuff, and they, couple shots, couple Buena Marie production shots, and
all right, that's not gonna happen. All right, moving on. Also, was announced on Raw that Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair will be on night one, prompting a hashtag
Spicy.
of
Yes.
was it main event Bianca Sasha or something.
It's a little bit too long of a hashtag. It's like it's gotta. I respect the hustle, but it's not a clean hashtag, but nonetheless still trending. It was. Let me see if I could even pull it up. Actually, I know who tweeted it out. It's National Puppy Day. Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
I don't have a dog, but you do.
Yeah, she's asleep. I'm not gonna celebrate her today.
Okay. Let me look up. I know Makazi tweeted it, so it is hashtag main event Banks versus Belair.
It's too long. Listen, man. There's another match we're going to talk about just after this that we're going to announce this on that first night. That is probably the better storyline right now. It's probably the bigger match.
Would you be open to the fact though if Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair main evented the first night? Because it seems like what happened?
It better be good.
I think it'll be good. I don't think we have any doubt that it's good. I just think, you have this match, you have this opportunity. You have 2 nights for WrestleMania for the second time ever. You have this opportunity where you have 2 black women fighting for a major championship. You have this. I think you can sacrifice a story for one of the men who will have this match. Drew has main evented WrestleMania. Will Bobby main event WrestleMania? Who knows? Do I agree with the hashtag? Yeah, I'd like to see it. I'd like to see it. If it doesn't happen, I completely understand why it doesn't happen.
Here's my thing. Give me a better argument than they're racist if they don't do this. Royal Rumble winners always main event, which is not true. Give me a better argument. Yeah, it's not true. Give me a better argument than what I've been seeing. I don't see a good argument for it here because my argument is this story to me. I don't care about it. That's my argument. Why it shouldn't be. This story is bad. I get the history. Absolutely. But you're on the show anyway. You know what I mean? You're on the show. They were legit going to have the match on the show. If Miz is having a match on the show, you as one of his biggest fans, what is bigger to you? Him being on the show or him being in the main event? When Kofi won the title, it was not the main event.
Nope.
I agree with you.
I didn't see anything. I didn't see anyone saying anything then.
I agree with you. I absolutely agree. Well, that was because the women were the main event on that show.
But I'm saying, but
he was mid card.
But exactly, and also it was the bigger story, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah, it was definitely the bigger story for sure.
Okay.
For sure.
I rest my.
Well, let me ask you this. Let me ask you guys this. How have you felt has the story has progressed thus far? Because you definitely seen a change after Fastlane that they're accelerating this very, very quickly. What do you think? Do you think Sasha Banks turns heel again? Is it full-fledged heel, or is she just being overly aggressive? How do you think they should move forward with this?
Well, Sasha has to lose first. I feel like that's the only way we're gonna know if she's gonna be a heel, she has to lose, because then she could be angry and then she could come out on SmackDown Friday and jump her or get upset and call her all kind of names. But she got to lose first. That's the only way that this goes on further properly. She got to lose.
Yeah, I believe that they got a lot of work to do. Let's be clear, in the next 3 weeks to make this a hot feud. They've spent so much time fucking around with the tag titles, with who Bianca's gonna choose, and we already knew who the fuck she was gonna choose. With Reginald, like
Goddamn
they,
Reginald.
they wasted so much time where it could have been, what it was. But CRS1 on Twitter brought up a really good point that,
Shout out to Chris.
yeah, like the Austin Rock buildup to X7 was actually pretty bad. And I do
Oh, it
remember,
was terrible.
at the time a lot of people shitting on it until that last week with the "I Need to Beat You" Rock, where they completely changed. They changed gears, and of course, before that happened, there was still having Triple H in Austin in the 3 stages of Hell match. They were still having Rock do a lot of stuff in the build up to that as well, which to me
Yeah.
was like it was a hat on top of a hat. But in the end, it all came together. So to your point, I do believe that they can bring this around, and it doesn't take that long. But I want
No.
to see. I want to see what happens on Friday before I can say, okay, maybe this should be main event. But right now,
Yeah.
nah.
I think they're both engaging personalities enough, and I think they both want it enough to this extent. And I think Sasha Banks, doing the thing to Bianca Belair, definitely taking her back. But now I kind of want to see like Bianca Belair break her on like 8 different pieces. Because I'm like, oh, now you're going to get what's coming. Like, you don't really do that. And you don't really try to play her. And, Bianca Belair could really she could literally break you in 8 different pieces. So it kind of becomes a situation now where egos are coming into play. And it does remind me a little bit of the Austin and Rock thing, because a lot of their feud, at least the early part of their feud, they try to incorporate Deborah into it, et cetera, et cetera. It didn't work out, and then she was overall dropped from the feud, and I think she was overall just dropped as an important person entirely. But I think they did manage to step it up, and all it takes is that one moment, that one interview, that kind of one promo, to make it kind of happen and really kind of sell it to another level. I'm wondering if they do that this Friday on SmackDown. They don't have much other opportunities to pull this off. So yeah, like I agree with you in a sense. If you want to, make main event Bianca versus Belair, if you really want that, we got to take this to a whole nother level.
Yeah, it can't just be their fans saying that this should happen just because it happens. Because there's stories that I'm a fan of both of them, but I'm not just gonna say it's your main event just cause. Like, it's not the biggest story to me right now. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Vince getting his fans back in WrestleMania this year, they are going on third to last, and they're gonna like it. That's just how that's gonna go. Vince is not playing with y'all this year. He got fans back. It's gonna be what he say, and that's what it's gonna be.
The last match here, we already know this is going to happen on night one. They've already announced it, but they've officially announced it that it will be on night one, and that is Drew McIntyre versus Bobby Lashley. Starting to see a little bit of a dissension now, finally, again, within the Hurt Business with Bobby Lashley. I do think some things are being planted, some seeds are being planted, and I think that, I'm waiting to see what happens with that. But that is your night one card as of right now. Let's get into night two.
Oh, wait, I just want to say that Teddy Long and Rodney Mack crawled so MVP and Bobby could run. Like,
But ain't that true?
and I'm so proud of them, and I'm happy for them. So go ahead.
We saw this at the end of Raw last night, but it was announced, or rather, I thought the end of Raw was fire last night. I don't care, no pun intended. But Orton and the Fiend are going to be facing each other at WrestleMania Night 2. The Fiend is back. I think the Fiend look is one of the coolest looks they've ever done to me in terms of just continuity, in terms of like how it would look if he was actually a burn victim.
Yeah.
It looks crazy.
I agree. I mean, just
getting,
the overall. Go ahead.
Are we getting Undertaker AJ cinematic vibes in this?
Oh, man, like you said, like I'm weary about having these fans looking at a screen in an arena unless they're actually gonna come into the arena,
Yeah, I think overall, I mean, this is a WrestleMania rematch. They've had a match on WrestleMania before. It wasn't particularly that great, but I think we're under much heightened circumstances. Even though I thought be honest, I thought their last feud was really good. It just the match kind of took all the air out of it. Like if you go back to watch that WrestleMania build up, I think it's just perfectly of Randy Orton being under his control and turning and et cetera, et cetera. It gives me very like Green Ranger-esque type of vibes. But I think this feud is taking it to the next level. I think they played the real kind of like otherworldly, fire things. They played it off kind of right. They didn't do too much. A lot of it I didn't really pay attention to, but I know just overall it's like, okay, we stuck to certain things. We're not really trying to boggle you down with like too much bleeding. Alexa kind of has one power, which makes people bleed out the mouth. The Fiend returns and he's just charred and looking for vengeance and all this other stuff like that. Like they didn't do too much. And I kind of appreciate that. And I appreciate them sticking to the story. I appreciate everyone involved in the story because I think everyone has done an amazing job thus far. Now, thus far, it's a regular ass match.
Mm-hmm.
Will it stay a regular ass match? And will they be able to? Will Randy Orton, who over the last year has just been on another level, be able to
top five
deliver?
Top five.
Yeah, will he be able to deliver once again? Again, the Fiend, by the way. This is the Fiend. Someone who Justin and I have talked and say he's had like 3 great matches in WWE ever.
So listen,
ever.
I was talking to my homeboy about this earlier. Shout out him, selfmadejew_ on Twitter. But I was saying, I would like to see this become a thing, as if the Fiend, kind of like the Taker route. He's undefeated at WrestleMania as the Fiend. Make it important, like he beats Randy, he beats somebody else important next year, so that 15 undefeated wins later, you can use that and put that on somebody to make it real important. Like they should make this a thing, like the Fiend at Mania trying to destroy the Fiend at WrestleMania. I think they should go further with this than just this year.
Interesting.
I think Undertaker might have something to say about that.
He probably will. You do another streak? Is my streak not good enough for you?
I come back and
not.
It's over there, nigga. It's over. You out of here.
No, but I do agree. I do think there's going to be, man, they can't do an Inferno match, can they? Because then this time Randy actually has to get his comeuppance. I think like the only issue I have here is that like I don't know really who to cheer for.
Yeah.
You gotta be casket at this point. They done everything else, so buried alive or something.
I'm looking at this like theater. I'm looking to be entertained. I'm not really looking for a winner. I'm not looking for the sort of stakes of where this leads afterwards. I don't think anyone is getting a championship shot. I don't think this changes anybody's place on the card or in the business or anything like that. I'm purely looking for this match as like, yo, this is entertainment. This is theater. This is the build up to a great story. I watch a lot of anime. I watch a lot of things. I see the build up. I see the climax. I kind of want to know where it goes. And if it ends well, it's an all-time great story leading up to WrestleMania. And if they flub the finish like they did last time.
Did you see the Fiend's tweet today of Randy punting him as he was Husky Harris?
Yeah.
That man got a hold on.
Great.
He got a Twitter.
It's the regular Bray Wyatt Twitter. I'm interested to see what regular Bray Wyatt looks like now. Because we haven't seen him since either.
He probably look regular. I mean, people was like, yo, has he been injured? Has he been? No, he's just out for story. Like the man takes off every couple months, chilling with his wife.
Yeah, he got the best schedule in the game for it.
So that was announced for night 2. Also on night 2, just announced on Raw. They announced a lot of matches this week.
Good. I like the fact that even exactly after the moment finished, they just threw up they didn't even say like I challenge you. They were just like it's happening, nigga. So
I get this work.
Especially the thing when they pointed at it, which again I thought was hard when Alexa pointed at it and it started like flaming up. Then you saw the graphic. If there was a crowd there,
that shit was hard.
They would have fucking lost their minds at that shit because it's cool. And the thing is, I just the Fiend thing is so frustrating me. I know it's supposed to go to the next match, but the Fiend thing is so frustrating to me is because he looks so cool that if he was able to work better, he would be one of my favorite characters. But I know that once that bell rings, it's going to be a bunch of tomfoolery and bullshit.
I think he's gonna if he's in. I mean, he's been around for like a decade now, over a decade. Bray Wyatt in the business, or at least in WWE. I think it's similar. Hopefully he gets that kind of like Undertaker type of thing where Undertaker kind of like learned to work like well, not learned to work, but had better quality matches like 16 years into his damn career.
Later, much later.
One thing I will say is that
much later.
Bray looks a lot slimmer now than he did before he left. Bray was really big before he left 4 or 5 months ago. He looked really slim.
Kevin Owens plan.
Everybody.
Yeah, you on the Kevin Owens plan.
So hopefully he can move around a lot more. That's all I'm going to say.
Listen, everyone takes WrestleMania seriously. Everyone's on there, getting whatever food made by them and all this other stuff. I see everybody's pretty much, Instagrams and everything. Everyone takes WrestleMania very, very seriously. So I'm not even surprised. But yeah, we should probably move on.
Yeah. Next match. This was announced on Raw. Rhea Ripley debuted to challenge Asuka, and Asuka accepted. Of course, Rhea said, since Charlotte can't be here, I really do think Charlotte's COVID diagnosis was a lot worse than we probably knew.
You think it's a work, brother? No, I'm kidding.
No, I don't think it's a work. I think the fact that she had to go on Twitter to say it meant that it wasn't a work. But I mean, Andrade was weird saying, in 2 days you'll be cleared. I'm like, bro, she's been out for like 3 or 4, almost like 3 weeks at this point. She had that shit for real.
Yeah, no, she was I think she was last seen 2 weeks ago when she was talking she had that terrible segment with Mandy Rose, and it's not her that was a terrible part, but just that segment, it was just like, well, if you guys want to prove yourself, then bring it. And then she goes missing and stuff. We fully expected. I remember talking to you offhand. It was like, we fully expected her to come out. I was like, listen, she's just gonna come out, she's gonna point, and we just gotta have to accept it. That this is happening for WrestleMania. And then, I guess because of the diagnosis, we hadn't heard the news yet, but they made the announcement. It was like, Rhea Ripley's coming to Raw next week. And we were like, oh, like 2 weeks before Mania? Like, y'all do that. Like, y'all barely do that. Like, y'all did that once, and Samoa Joe still ain't even get on the card. So we were concerned. And then Monday Night Raw happens. Asuka sends Peyton Royce back to purgatory. And Rhea Ripley comes out, makes her statement known, says, listen, I want it, points to the WrestleMania sign, and Asuka, who is very much so someone who never backs down from a challenge, said, all right, bring it, it's on. And that is where we're at with that. How do you guys how do you feel?
Yeah, if given the proper time, match of the night. I'm calling it now. Go ahead and put that out there. If given the right amount of time, that's going to be the one. Because I think it's the first time in a while Asuka will be free, like somebody who can take it. So she'll be able to really get in her bag for real. Because Asuka be holding back, and that should be sad. Because them women can't goddamn take no licks. But I feel like Rhea will be ready, and it's going to be a good one.
I hope so, because to be honest with you, I was looking at this. I was like, listen. Last year, WrestleMania, she had to wrestle in the PC. She's getting another opportunity. Same stadium that she wanted to go to this previous year. Same kind of similar opportunity where she's challenged for a championship. It kind of feels like a redemption type of thing.
Yeah.
But nobody beats Asuka.
She might be Asuka. I used to think that. I will tell you, the train stopped. The train stopped when Charlotte beat Asuka. Once those wheels fell off.
But that's Big Charlotte. Nobody beats Big Charlotte either. She's the exception to every rule.
But then after that, you had Asuka losing to Carmella. She was losing to, all types of weirdos. No offense to Carmella.
We're not gonna speak on that. That was just a lapse of judgment by management. We're not gonna speak on that.
But I think just overall, do I think Rhea has a very strong chance to beat Asuka? Yeah, because we even talked about the rumors. Listen, Lacey Evans was supposed to beat Asuka. Ridiculous as it sounds.
Yeah. But fate intervened, and we're gonna get the match that we're supposed to get. I'm gonna wait for the booking and to see where this ends up. A week before.
Do you think Charlotte ends up somewhere within the vicinity of this match when she returns, or do you feel like it's just she's out of WrestleMania completely?
And they need to leave it be. Honestly,
I just want it as it is.
Yeah, they need to leave it be. I don't think there's enough. I know it's Charlotte, but like there really isn't enough.
Charlotte.
I know, but like she could be Asuka or Rhea's first challenger, and I think that'd be cool. And there's a story there with both of them. They're both people who are really essentially. I mean, they could have Charlotte come out and say, "Whoever wins this match, I'm going to be watching. I'm going to be the first one to challenge you."
She'll face the
Here's what's
loser
gonna
in the
happen.
number 1 contender match.
Yep.
Here's what's gonna happen. Don't count this up to Meelz booking. Here's what I'm gonna happen. It's gonna be, what was that WrestleMania? Where was the WrestleMania where Bret Hart lost to Yokozuna?
11.
So Asuka loses to Rhea, then Charlotte comes out.
Oh hell!
Rhea
No.
says, "Come on, you want another one?"
Oh, no.
Asuka does the "Get her, come on, get." It's legitimately like WrestleMania 11.
Oh, Hogan's hosting, right? Isn't Hogan hosting?
Hogan is 100% hosting.
Oh shit!
Fuck this show.
Damn.
But I would laugh if they pulled the WrestleMania 11 just to slot Charlotte into the show. They're like, yo, Charlotte.
I mean, I ain't never mad at a big Charlotte appearance. I don't think so. I don't think it's.
I'm glad we all 3 Righteous stands on the show. Shout out to that.
Well, we do know with that match, we do know one match where there is definitely going to be someone else added, and that is more than likely the main event of night 2, Edge versus Roman Reigns.
Oh,
I think it goes without saying that Daniel Bryan will more than likely be added to this match on Friday, so just be ready for that. But that is scheduled for night 2.
How does he keep doing
Donnie,
this?
what do you think about? Yeah, what do you think about this? We had our debate last week.
I'm gonna go back a little further. I think I might be the only person in the world who didn't enjoy Yes Mania.
Wow.
Like, I'm gonna go ahead and put that out there. Yeah,
that's a big take.
Because how are you beating Triple H and Randy Orton and Batista in one night? Like, I'm not rolling with that. It's never sat right with me. I don't care who was responsible or who was okay with it. That's just not supposed to happen. And so you just every year you keep finding yourselves in these people matches. Like, Daniel, go home. Like, stay out the way. What are you doing? I'm tired of seeing you. Like, once again. But I feel like this go around, I'm gonna just say how I see it. They don't trust Edge fresh off a broken neck to be one-on-one with Roman for a whole night. Something could go wrong. So you need Daniel there to kind of manage the match, make it safe, make sure he get through it all right in one piece for however the finish is supposed to go. That's just how I feel like that's why he's in it.
I'm interested. I would love to interview Edge somehow, but I don't fucking know. I'm interested in how he feels about this because it kind of feels like it was definitely. I always felt like it was definitely supposed to be Roman versus Edge. Facts. I don't know where Daniel Bryan came from.
Yeah, me neither.
But
that's crazy.
I always felt like it was supposed to be Roman Reigns versus Edge. It was supposed to be the moment. This was supposed to be kind of everything. And now Daniel Bryan he skews it a little bit because he skews kind of like the hero, the hero build, the opponent build, a little bit of the aggression. He skews that away from Edge a bit. So Edge now has to react in kind, which kind of leads to what he did at Fastlane when he attacked Daniel Bryan and he attacked Roman Reigns. He has to kind of lean in to a lot more vicious side and kind of even lean into a little bit more of a tweener type of thing. I'm interested in how he feels about it.
What's Daniel going to take, a double spear? Like, fuck out of here, Daniel. You're in the way. Like, let them boys out of match. Like, get out of here.
I'm all for it. They gotta have something, bro. They got to, man. I'm all for it. I fuck with it. I think it's gonna be a good match. I listen, man. I saw Edge last week on SmackDown. I texted him about this. This man, he a little slow, y'all.
He's 46. He's 47. He got to be a little slow.
Off a broken freaking neck. You know what I'm saying? Like you gotta go.
It's not even that. It's age. It's just something that you can't really take into account. Like the body begins to just become a lot more slower than it was before.
He was already slow before.
What do you mean?
Yeah, he's never really been the fastest guy.
Yeah, he was already.
Well, listen, he's broken every appendage that's ever been in his body that ever existed at some point. Torn fingernails off, torn, rotator cuffs, eyelashes, all types of shit. If there's an injury, he's had it. So I understand that.
Should have been doing the spear to begin with. Let me just say that.
Well, here's the thing: that setup that he had, where he gave Jay the what was it, the arm ringer, the arm tug, where he tugged him down into the spear. I was like, what kind of setup? But I feel like he's like trying out new things. Remember last year he had the anti-venom.
Well, yeah, he does try out new shit. Like he does.
I think he said that. Like he's trying to keep up with the new guys. I think he said.
Yeah,
that.
Yeah. I think he, as an Edge stan, I know that he's been trying. You remember when back in the day you used to have like 8 million moves with Edge in it?
Yeah,
Educator, Edge
yeah.
Mission, Edge-o-matic,
Edge-o-matic.
Edge everything.
Listen,
Oh my god.
I want to see him turn back the hands of time. I'm praying that he does not get injured in this match. So,
That's
you
all
know,
I care about.
yeah, I hope that this happens. We're gonna see what happens on Friday, but for now, and as of like SmackDown and Raw, this is your WrestleMania card. We have about 8 matches announced. I would expect about 5 to 6 more, and we're going, and you can already see the wheels turning for some of them. Looks like we're probably going to get Riddle versus Sheamus. We're going to get some type of tag title matches on both sides of the shows.
KO versus Sammy. Oof.
KO versus Sammy finally on WrestleMania. I'm not mad at that, but that could probably happen in the next couple weeks as well.
My boy Sammy kicked the shit out of him, man.
Oh boy,
cleared his ass.
Boy, push his top
my
back in
God.
that chair. I was like, damn.
But yeah, that is the week in wrestling for the A Show. I want to thank me and Meelz and everyone from the A Show RNC. We want to thank you, Donny, for being on the show.
I appreciate it, fellas. Anytime. I'm gonna be looking out for the next contest.
Is there anything you want to plug? You want to tell everyone you're at so they can follow you? Let us know. Let them know.
Yeah, y'all can just follow me on Twitter _ Donny Smoove OOVE. You know what I'm saying? I'm a pretty good follower and I follow back. I got some things coming out too on my Twitter, so just be on the lookout for that. But I appreciate the A Show. Appreciate y'all for having me. I enjoy both of you guys' wrestling takes. I enjoy the show. Black wrestling fans, we gotta stick together. Shout out to Sumter, South Carolina, Merck City. And I appreciate you, fellas.
Awesome, man. Thank you so much for being on the show. And as always, you can follow us at the A Show RNC on Twitter. Make sure you listen to a new episode of the Rewriters Room. They're booking Naomi this week. So, if you're feeling the glow, definitely go around there and check that out with Armand, Chan, and CC telling you guys about what's going on over there. Of course, we have the War Report with Cyrus and Quan. They're going to be talking about the NXT tag titles being relinquished and, what's going to happen on this week's episode of NXT and AEW Dynamite. And of course, you have us, me, and Meelz.
Before we fully wrap up, I want to just let everyone know. Next week, the announcement. The announcement you may not have been anticipating it, but it's coming. There's something coming next week. So just look out for it.
Yeah. So for Meelz, I'm Justin. See you next week.